Good morning, everyone. We've just ticked into 11 o'clock, so we've gone live now, live to the nation. Feels like one of these Downing Street briefing sessions. We're going to leave it a minute or two just to allow any latecomers to join today's webinar, which I'm very much looking forward to being a part of and listening to and interacting with. But yeah, we'll leave it another minute, give people time to get comfortable, finish off their breakfast, finish off last email or cup of coffee or anything that they need to do before we can really immerse ourselves into today's session. So once again, anyone who's just joined, we've just ticked over now to 1 minute past 11. So I want to say a really good morning to everyone who's taking time out of their day to join us all today, and also for anyone else who wasn't able to make it live and is watching back on demand, which I think is the way of the world at the moment now, where there's lots of sort of interactive sessions and especially like today's one, which is really important for partners to listen to and absorb, but if they can't join live, always remember you can always watch any of the intY webinars back on demand. So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Oliver Gardner and I'm one of the vendor business managers in intY. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined on today's webinar by Bourne and Wendy Clifford from Cloud 2020. So good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Ollie.
Okay, so why have I invited Cloud 2020 in to speak with us today? Well, Cloud 2020 were identified by intY as a key vendor for us over 2 years ago now, that through setting up a partner-to-partner play in Dynamics, they can enable our partners to expand the journey of digital transformation that our partners take their customers on. So there are many benefits that selling Dynamics can bring intY partners. So as an intY partner, being able to offer your customers Microsoft Dynamics enables you to be their true trusted advisor to your customers. And it's without the requirement for potentially needing to upskill or for any extra internal investment. Instead, with Cloud 2020, you partner up with a true Dynamics expert. This provides you with the ability to offer strategic and technical advice to your customers, whilst also helping to reduce things like churn. And it provides you as a partner an additional margin opportunity, whilst also being able to retain your existing 365 base, which I know is very important to you all. So the aim of today's session is to offer a way for intY partners to engage with Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform that will help to drive both professional services and licensing revenue for you all. So we're going to have a Q&A box that's open throughout the webinar, but we will look to probably address these questions at the end. If there's anything that drops in that's particularly pertinent to the discussion between myself, Ian and Wendy, then by all means I'll bring it up immediately. But I think most of them we'll tend to look at to address towards the end of the session. So Wendy, I know you wanted to look at the 3 common fears that partners tend to have when looking at Dynamics and the Power Platform. So over to you. Tell me about these 3 common fears that you come across.
Thanks, Ollie. Thanks for the great introduction there. It's been a real journey between ourselves and intY over the last 2 years, and I hadn't realised it would be that long. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself, doesn't it? You're a great organisation to be involved with, and I particularly liked the Tantastic sweets that you had down in the kitchen when I used to come over. Those days are gone now, I think, because we haven't been out of the office for working out of our homes for the last year, but hopefully soon we'll be back in those days again, and I can break my diet when I come over to see you every time. So yes, I guess some of these fears people will recognise. We've kind of subsumed them into 3 basic ones that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about FOLO and FOMO, which I think most people understand as an abbreviation, but there's one that we've actually created which we kind of identified. It's less elegant, but it's called FOBFO, and FOBFO is fear of being found out. And the reason why we've called it that is because in the end, our partners, everybody that we're talking to, we're all people and we all have these kinds of emotions about getting out of our comfort zone. And we know that your reseller partners there are very, very comfortable and skilled around Azure, Microsoft 365, their experience. They've been in that world for a very long time. And now along has come Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform, actually, which is, Dynamics is part of. We're talking there about Power Apps, and then also the requirement from their customers to go on this digital transformation journey. What happens when you get to the point where you don't know the technology well enough to actually offer the kind of experienced advice and support to your customer that they have grown to expect? At that point, there is this kind of very human fear, I think, and I'm sure, Ian, I'm going to bring you in a minute, but I'm sure you understand that it's fear of being found out. Oh my goodness, they're going to realize that we're meant to be the technology experts, and here's this whole area which is really important for them in this digital transformation journey that they're undergoing, and we don't know anything about that. What do we do at that point, where you either put your head in the sand or jump off the cliff and try it, or you bring in an experienced partner so that you can maintain this position of being the trusted advisor by showing that you know where the ends of your expertise lie and when it's the time to bring in that partner. So I don't know, Ian, do you have anything to kind of add around that? I think it's very much our own invention there, but it is something we've seen, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're coming to follow and FOMO in a minute, which I think are really important. But this one actually is that you've identified is critical, because it's what can either make or break that initial conversation with a customer around the business applications arena. And as you rightly point out, Wendy, the partners we work with through intY, they're really good at getting customers through the digital transformation journey from Microsoft 365, getting Exchange online, getting those third-party apps into Azure, and all that kind of great stuff that we don't do. But then it comes to a point where, and we've seen this so much in the last 12 months, where the whole digital transformation thing has been accelerated unbelievably. And there have been some customers that have not been interested in this migration or this movement at all, and suddenly been forced into it. The others that were considering it and have now just gone, right, let's just get it done. Let's get it done by Monday, because they've had to. And then, having gone on that journey, they want to complete it. And to complete it, they then need to go through the business applications piece as well. Now, and it's that point there where, as you point out, Wendy, it's like having the confidence to go, do you know what? Yeah, absolutely. You do need to. So it's having enough knowledge to say, yes, you do need to move forward now and get it. And particularly in your case, perhaps it's sales or customer services or marketing or field service or whatever it is. And I now want to bring in the people that are going to really make this work for you. And it's having that, as opposed to getting yourself further and further and further out on that limb, to the point where you then meet a customer who actually has probably already done some research and may challenge what you're thinking, or comes up with a question you can't answer. Okay, what you're talking about, does this connect to my account package Sage, or how does it work with MailChimp or something? They're going to ask, they may possibly ask you a question you can't answer. Now you're in your uncomfortable area, and that's really where we should be alongside you. So yeah, this fear of being found out, let's allay that for you. Let's take that out, take that off the table, and work with you on that.
Thanks, Ian. I think that the opportunity, hopefully the size of the opportunity out there will enable people to want to get over this particular fear, plus the fact that we're actually we're offering these solutions for them via another trusted partner, which is in fact intY. And that's very much, it's that partnership on both sides, isn't it, that's important here.
Yeah, I think actually a part of the mystery is that if we went back a couple of years, customers, some of them understood what putting in a good business application could do for them, but there was a bit of reticence. It could be like costs and what's the return on investment. We're not hearing that discussion anymore. There's a massive demand for what we can offer here, so and that's a massive opportunity. let's not leave it behind, and particularly in the SMB arena. So once seen to be the domain of purely enterprises, it's not anymore. What we deliver now works across the range of businesses. So yeah, there is a huge momentum there, and it's really, it'd be criminal to leave it behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm wondering, do you feel there, Ollie, that we've expanded on that subject enough, really, for your partners to feel that we've identified something for them there that we're offering a solution to?
Yeah, I think it's a very pertinent point as well, and FOBFO rolls off the tongue quite well as well, which I like. But, you know, I feel if we look at a lot of partners who I engage with within the intY base, as you rightly said, you know, they're experts within the arena of 365 and talking about digital transformation and spinning things up in Azure. And actually, it does tend to be that the third Microsoft cloud, the Power Platform that Dynamics is part of, is something that maybe they don't have an expertise in. It's a different sales cycle. It's a different sales conversation. Yes. And if they aren't having that conversation at the moment, and in fact, as a partner, if you're listening today or watching this back on demand, if any of your customers or opportunities that you're talking to at the moment, the conversation veers round to CRMs, veers round to ERPs, veers round to actually looking at how, as a business, that customer runs their business, then really this should be a real sort of light bulb moment that if you don't feel that you have the expertise in house to have those conversations, the reason why is at intY we brought Cloud 2020 in as a vendor is because they have that expertise, and they're not looking to steer the conversation away from anything other than how can Dynamics and the Power Platform help to deliver and accelerate the digital transformation into that customer base. So no, Wendy, yeah, agree. I think that's a really solid point. So what were the other two then that you touched on earlier?
Well, the other two were, I think people will recognise, particularly since we've spent a lot of time in our houses not going out. And these are human emotions, aren't they, that we're talking about here, but in a business sense. Fear of losing out. I mean, because, okay, it runs alongside fear of being found out, and those that if you then are afraid that if you bring in another partner you will lose out, or you will lose your current customer, those two things together are a perfect storm for inaction, for not doing anything, for avoiding those conversations with your customer, for, you know, just kind of patting it on, pushing it on and saying, well, we'll talk about that another time, because you don't actually have all that information at your hands, and you're concerned that if you go and talk to somebody about it, they'll be saying, oh, there's an opportunity there, right, let's go and have a chat to them, and they may well do the same things that you do. So I guess here the way that we ally this this particular fear is to say very clearly right up front, we do not do Microsoft 365, we do not do Azure. We partner with other people to do those things if it ever falls as part of the solution that we're offering here. And if a customer has a Dynamics 365 requirement or a Power App requirement that actually needs some additional support from those kinds of services, and it's brought to us via a partner, they are the people who will get that extra work. That's the whole point, that partnering together we expand the opportunities that there are. We know that Microsoft are really keen on this partner to partner play, and for many years I don't think it's been entirely clear quite how we were supposed to do this. So I think now we're clearer about what that process might be, and we can definitely allay any fears that any other partner might have, any of your resellers might have, that we would, you know, seek to use that opportunity to actually gain a foothold that would be to their detriment. I know, Ian, for a long time we've been battling this particular fear, haven't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Wendy. I think an important point you make there is this clear demarcation, effectively, between what the partners do and what we do. And to give an example, about 3 years ago now, just when we were really first getting into the partner-to-partner piece, Microsoft phoned me from Seattle and said, we hear what you're doing, but how do you convince the resellers that you're not going to eat their lunch effectively? And I said, well, 2 reasons. One is you'd only ever do it once. It's a small world. I said, but why would we? Because that's a very short-term approach. What we're looking to do here is show the partners how easy it is to bring us in, get the job done, and make the customer happy, and all of us make some money. So we want them to see that, and then see the advantage of that, and come back and bring us more and more business. So that that's the clear part about it. I think it's got the other points important really here. We often get asked, well, can you white label and all that kind of stuff? And the answer is no. Okay, we don't. We just don't do that. And from our experience, particularly in SMB arena, there's not an issue around that. Customers know that, if you get an extension done to your house, okay, you get a builder in. He's not necessarily an electrician and a plumber or a roofer. He brings those trades in, and fundamentally, this is the same scenario. You've got this trusted partner of the customer who's bringing in somebody to work alongside them to deliver this project. And we do need to work alongside the partner because we need them to do things for SharePoint and for make sure they've got the right admin going on the exchange, all that good stuff. So there's a partnership thing going on in there anyway. Just another thing about losing out. I was talking to a customer yesterday who had wanted to move on the journey, hadn't engaged with, but had got Microsoft 365 in there and a bit of Azure, and then had gone and bought a myriad of other applications to fill in bits, a bit of project over here, a bit of sales over here, a bit of marketing over there. It was just an array of stuff. They'd literally just got their credit card out and bought, and none of it spoke to each other. So that's another reason why you want to get in that early as part of the whole journey and say, oh, and by the way, we might not be doing it today, but we want to talk to you about the value add of bringing your marketing in here, or bringing your customer service in here, bring your HR in, whatever it is, all those workloads in the background that make a company really hum can all be part of this process.
I think Ian, when we're talking about this, FOLO and FOMO, they do actually mesh together quite well, don't they? Because we're talking about losing out and missing out there, so missing out on revenue and fear of losing out to other partners even as well. So I think that it's an important fear to address, and it's very understandable to have it, but really action is the thing that drives out fear more than anything. I think we know that in our personal lives, and it's the same in our business lives as well. Ollie, did you have something to say there? Sorry, I saw you.
No, I mean, I was actually going to sort of revert back to something I said at the start of the webinar, is that from a partner's perspective, a partner-to-partner play, if within the world of 365, is not as common. It is common within the world of the Power Platform and Dynamics. And as I said earlier, it provides you as a partner with the ability to offer strategic and technical advice to your customer, whilst also helping to reduce churn. And from a partner perspective, it helps you, so it's an additional margin opportunity, and it allows you to retain your 365 base. So you concentrate on what you do very, very well as an organization. And then there's this other area here for third cloud of Microsoft, where if that isn't your expertise, you bring in the experts to have the conversation. And it fits quite well. I said we had a Q&A box open, which we have, and that actually we would probably address them at the end. But we've had a question that's come in, which is quite pertinent to now, I suppose. So I suppose to either one of you, Wendy or Ian, the question is, how would you respond if a final customer were to engage with you directly?
Yeah, certainly how to pick that up. We have had that conversation with customers, and the point is that we actually go back to the customer and explain really what we're talking about now to the partner and the benefits of partnership. Okay, so we push straight back on that. We do not engage. So with the customers, it's like, well, why can't we come directly through you? Because your trusted partners, this outfit over here, that's what they do. They brought us in to do this piece, and we need to keep going forward in that, because it's still a partnership to maintain the support and the ongoing development. Because one thing's for certain, what we do find is we start talking to a customer, and obviously the sooner the partner can bring us into that process, the better, because various reasons. One is we can always bowl out the opportunity if it's not a real one there, actually, because we'll understand that. But also we can set the expectations for the customer and also identify the value add. Often customers say, well, this looks a little bit expensive, and then you look at the value add and they go, actually, yeah, you're right, it actually makes sense. But we'll then very often we'll go in and identify the core reason they brought us in, and we'll work on that, and we'll deploy on that, and we'll get the customer some return on investment on that, whatever that is. Very often it's sales productivity. But then the next thing then is we start to build that momentum with the customer. They go, oh, great, now we'll have the customer service piece, and now we'll have the marketing piece alongside that, and so on. So it's very much a land and expand opportunity for both of us to do that. But we always need to work alongside the partner, because they do things we don't do. Okay, yeah. So yeah, customers have asked us before, why do why? Well, there is no direct in it, because we work in partnership. So it's not it's a non-issue really. It doesn't, we soon bowl that out.
I think too, we have to say that when you're in this world and you're doing this kind of partner to partner arrangement, it has to be built on trust.
Yeah.
That is the whole point. In order to overcome these fears, we need to build trustworthy relationships. We need to, so in that respect, in order to build that trust and maintain that trust, not just with that partner, but also with yourselves as distribution, Ollie, and with our also within our own kind of branding of ourselves as a company, we have to behave with integrity. That's the point. Unless we behave with integrity, we do not build trust, and then the bottom falls out of allaying fears for people, because you can't trust. If you can't trust somebody, you go back to your fear again, don't you? So in the end, if we're honest about this, if we were to take customers on directly that had come to us via a partnership, we would be undercutting that integrity of the relationship, and that for us is not what we do at Cloud 2020. Then, having said that, there are sometimes circumstances where relationships change, and at that point, then if we've had a long-standing arrangement, a relationship with a customer, we can actually be the point of continuity for those changing relationships, which actually in the end aids the customer and also aids the distribution and the channel itself. So hopefully we're a safe pair of hands in the way that we handle those sometimes quite difficult times, that we all go through as businesses as well.
I think ultimately you do this every day of the week, don't you?
Yes.
Partner to partner play may be out of the norm for some of the partners sort of watching this webinar today, but from a Cloud 2020 perspective and from an intY perspective, we're used to it now. It's sort of bread and butter for us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think on that last point also is that that's why we don't ever try and do this whole white label stuff, what have you, because it's, in the days of with LinkedIn and things like that, there's no such thing. People know exactly who you are, who you work for, and so on. So immediately, you're having awkward conversations. We don't. We go, hi, we're Cloud 2020. We're working alongside these people here. They've asked us to speak to you about so and so, and we're here to help. The other thing is we really, really want the partners to be engaged. So we want them to be on calls. We want them to be involved in the workshops. We want to be involved in the discovery, so they understand what we're doing, and also because they can contribute. So that also helps it does two things. One is it builds on that trust and what have you, so they understand what's going on, but also it's a way of them actually learning more about what we can do. So therefore they have more understanding of where they can actually have this conversation with other customers along a similar vein.
Yeah, and I think that probably brings us to our final fear, doesn't it? Yeah. The fear of missing out, which is here, and essentially that's missing out on the opportunity and the revenue, and also the kind of the potential for business growth and development that actually engaging with a partner like ourselves means for a business. So there are multiple reasons why that's a good thing to do, as we've already spoken about. but I mean, this is a very useful fear actually, because it's based on understanding that there is an opportunity there that you're not going for, but you know, there will be gains for it if you can overcome that fear and take the next step. Hopefully we are the kind of people that you feel you can trust to do that, the kind of organisation you feel you can trust to bring in with your customers, and then you don't miss out on the revenue, on the project-based revenue, and the other things that go alongside that, and plus the building of yourself as a even further as a trusted partner for your customer directly. Do you have some other things around fear of missing out there, Ian?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you say, the first two fears are negative for you to engage, right? So we get you over those hurdles, that's cool. Now it's like, okay, I get this now. Now I want to gain these opportunities. Brilliant. Okay, well, talk to us. We've got collateral for you. We've got examples. We can talk you through the numbers, you know, and there are some substantial numbers in here for you to pick up on. So there's the actual licensing, obviously. There's some there's the initial deployment term and consultancy charges, and there's ongoing support. And that's across the whole piece. And these are some, say, the licensing and the consultancy are some fairly substantial pieces, so well worth looking at. So talk to us. We can help you get a better understanding. We can talk to your sales team. We talk to your technical team. We can help you get an understanding of where to have the conversation, when to have it, what to listen out for, what are the key messages, and so on. So let's help you get over this fear of missing out on leaving that revenue on the table. Because linking back to the photo again, if you leave it on the table, somebody else could move in there and take it. So yeah. let's help you do that. Yeah.
I think that also we should, it's possibly a good point to mention here that, you know, there is a current Microsoft initiative which is around Better Connected, which is deliberately trying to bring together the idea of working Microsoft 365 alongside Dynamics 365, particularly around the professional licensing, which may be of interest to your customers. So there is even, you know, a campaign available to go to market, to go to your customers with, that we can engage with you. With your partners to get on board with. So, you know, the environment's changed. I think Microsoft is understanding more about partnering with an organisation like ourselves, which maybe to them looks completely obvious. Actually, there are some barriers to it that need to be engaged with at this kind of level, which is what we're trying to do here with really recognising what those three fears are and setting out our stall really to say, let's help you with that.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I think the whole partner thing with Microsoft is absolutely front and centre, as is the whole initiative around engaging with SMB, which we've been pushing for a long time, as you know, Wendy. And now Microsoft have finally woken up to the fact that, you know, in the UK, more than 95% of the businesses are SMBs. So, you know, this is challenging, and they are not going to speak to all of them. They need the reseller community out there to go and talk to those people, and you guys are engaged already, so it's just another piece of message that you have to go out to them with. And really it's having the confidence to have that initial conversation and then bring us alongside you to work on that opportunity. So yeah, like I say, we've got lots of collateral. We've also got specific products aimed at helping you as resellers make a sale. So we have a springboard product, which is a fixed price deployment, again focused around the sales professional app to get those smaller businesses up and running and started and on the bus. So lots of things we can help you with. So please talk to Ollie's team and let's get engaged.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Actually, from a partner perspective, if you look at any of the sort of the messaging that comes out from Microsoft over the past couple of years, it's trying to link the value of the three different Microsoft clouds together. And in fact, they are intrinsically linked because there are elements of all three clouds, whether it's modern workplace and security, whether it's Azure or whether it's the Power Platform, including Dynamics, is is actually those products have been produced because there is a requirement from customers of all sizes across all vertical markets, across all industries, that it addresses the requirements that they have. And I think almost as a partner, if you're looking at this and siloing into one or two different clouds and not looking at one of the others, it's potentially limiting your revenue stream that you can get. So we've had another question here. In fact, we've had another two now, which is great. So first one is in from Phil. It says, we specialize in making sure transformations are successful and have been brought in by other partners where the transformation is failing. How would you respond were we to bring you in as a partner and have to make changes to the transformation to ensure success for our client?
Yeah, cracking question, Phil. Actually, really good question. Yeah, we've been involved in a few scenarios like this, and you know, for various reasons, customers get up in a situation where they you know, things haven't gone well, and often that is, from our experience, that is because perhaps a solution has been implemented without really looking at what the value add proposition was for the customer, really digging into, well, hang on, why have you picked the phone up to us? What is it that the problem is? Well, we're not getting this, that, and the other happening. We're losing the sales, or the opportunities are dropping off, or people aren't happy with our customer service, whatever it is. We spend an awful lot of time actually doing business consultancy, really, to work out what the real issue is, and then bring that back and say, okay, fine. Then what we can do then is find you the tools from this massive tool box now that's available from Microsoft, from the Power Platform and Dynamics, and implement what is going to actually work for you. That's the thing, not as opposed to just coming in and say, here's a platform, bang, in it goes, thanks very much indeed, pay this check and we're off out now. Now, when we do come in, what we've got to do then is get that customer back into the confidence zone that says, yes, these people can come in, they understand our business, they understand what the pain points are, they can see where the value add is, and more importantly, they're going to help me get to the next stage. Now, sometimes we have to push back quite strongly with a customer where we can really see there are challenges or issues, but also we have to make sure we get the users on board. I know this is one of Wendy's very pet subjects here. If we don't actually speak to the users, it's all very well the team at the top going, oh, we need this, that, and the other. But if the people that are using these platforms on a day in, day out basis are not engaged, and it doesn't do what they need it to do, it's not going to happen. Wendy, I'm sure you want to pick up on that.
Yes, absolutely. And just to go back to the question, I think our response would be to somebody like Phil's organisation being brought in and partnering with them, we would say, great. That's the right decision for a customer to make. And essentially what's being said there is we understand there's a problem. And for us, the hardest times are where people won't acknowledge the problem or the difficulty that they've had, and we can't actually talk about it openly and say, okay, well, we don't want to go down that road anymore, we need to go this way. So to take it back to Phil's question, I would say absolutely we would be delighted if that happened, even if it was considered our solution that was being implemented that wasn't going well, because in the end, that's a bomb that gets exploded a bit later on. Let's actually deal with this, the problem. Let's deal with it. And change is hard. Change is hard for people. You've been doing your job this certain way for a number of years, and you've done it that way because those are the tools you've got. When somebody comes along and says, hang on, we could take several hours out of your day doing this, there is almost a bit of a gap that goes, if I was in that position, I'd be saying, okay, well, what am I going to do with that time? Am I going to be seen to be less needed or required by my company? So we have to engage with users, take them on that journey, ensure that they understand that this is going to be a good place to get to for everybody's point of view, not just from our point of view in terms of, you know, billing a solution at the end of the implementation. So any help that there is along that way, we would embrace enthusiastically, I think, Ian. You know, we would say, yes, that's great.
I think Phil's added another dimension to the question, really, which is where he said, that potentially that the partner's not, but another partner hasn't been performing, and therefore they advise the client to change partners. And what's the situation in that? So obviously a really awkward situation to be in. We wouldn't necessarily want to jump straight in there. What we'd like to do is perhaps working with you, have a first of all an initial view, because it might be that there might be some misunderstanding of what that is meant to be doing, what the action is. It might be that the customer's not seeing it. Maybe there's not enough communication between the partner and the customer about what they're doing. So we'd rather initially have that kind of not off the record, but have that call with you and the customer to try and help the situation move forward. Because it might be that we can just take a little blocker out of the way and it happens. Might be a misunderstanding. If it's not happening though, and we would then want to go and have a look and make sure we fully understood what the customer needs, what the expectation is. Again, back to the value add, because there'll be no point going in there and being a second partner that didn't achieve what the customer needed. I mean, that's not going to help anybody. So it's really back to how we would start any project, which is really trying to understand exactly what the customer needs and making sure we can deliver it. To be perfectly honest, there are times when we talk to customers and go, do you know what? Maybe this isn't for you for various reasons. They may be too small, they may not have identified what they need properly yet. There may not be a need at all, whatever it is. And we're not in the business of just selling something for the sake of it. There has to be something where we can make sure we make an impact. So again, I think in answer to your question, always challenging that situation. If we can help it along its way, brilliant. If it's going nowhere, we would want to really understand with the customer what it is they want and make sure they sign up to that approach and work with us. The other thing is, the customer knows what their business. We know Dynamics on the Power Platform. Unless we work together, we can't make that magic happen. So there has to be always a commitment from the customer that they're going to have to find time. Now, we get called in very, very commonly because of some inflection. There's some trigger point. Either they've brought a new company in, or they've done a new launch, or the sales have gone crazy, or something. Sometimes it's a negative thing, and the sales director's walked out and taken the Excel spreadsheet, all the customers on it, or whatever it is, something like that. But there's a trigger point, and what that also means is normally the customers that bring us in are very busy, but they have to understand they're going to have to find some space. They're going to have to find some space to work with us to help us understand their business. They're going to have to find some space to do some training so they can test what we bring in, and they're going to have to find some space to bring the rest of their team on board. So when we launch, it's successful.
Thanks for that, guys. We've had another question that feeds in very well to that actually as well, and it's sort of been covered off, I suppose, a bit, but I wanted to address it as well. It's from Phil again, saying a related question, and he has put in brackets, hopefully one that wouldn't arise with Cloud 2020, which is great. We've advised clients to change partners if the other partner isn't performing. What would you do in that situation, and what's the contractual situation?
Yeah, absolutely, Ollie. I think to some extent we've probably covered this really. We're back to that bit about helping Phil's team in this case to identify what is the root cause of the problem. Is there anything we can advise them to recover the situation with the current partner? Because obviously changing partners at any time is a costly exercise in both just pure cost but also time. But if it gets to that point, then back to what I'm saying really, is making sure that we thoroughly understand what the customer wants to achieve and how they're going to get to that point, and to get them to sign off basically on what does success look like at the end of the day. Because we certainly wouldn't want them to throw good money after the bad and end up with a second project that failed as well. So yeah, challenging situations.
Brilliant. I think contractually we have to say it depends on the contract between the partner, the customer, and they can be different. So we can't really comment on that. I think I would say that perhaps there needs to be a very a very full and frank conversation about why the implementation has failed with that particular partner. And I think often there isn't, like at Cloud 2020, we explicitly try not to play the blame game. We explicitly try not to. We deal with what's happened, and then we resolve what the issue is, and then we look after to see what we could have done better. And I think that process is good for whatever has happened if it hasn't gone well. So I would want to really understand, you know, what had happened, where it had failed and fallen down, so that you could make sure that the other partner that you're bringing in doesn't fall into the same trap, because it can sometimes be personalities. It can also be if you don't have an experienced consultant who's able to push back to the customer if perhaps some of the expectations are not realistic or achievable or desirable. Actually, we've had in the past organizations say to us, okay, well, and quite often it's the owner of the company in a smaller company that might say, okay, well, I've been doing this all on spreadsheets, so everything needs to look like a spreadsheet because then everybody's going to be fine with it. And we're like, you've lost the opportunity here. The opportunity is not to do what you've always done, but to do something new and to take advantage of all the best practice that's built into a Dynamics 365 solution. You know, but if you don't have a contractor that's a consultant, sorry, not contractor, a consultant that's strong enough to hold that position, has generated some respect for their experience and expertise, it can be very easy to just give the customer what they want, which is not actually what they need.
I think going back to Phil's question here, really, a couple of times when we have taken over a project, they have tended to be very long projects. Now, we're not keen on that. We're not keen on creating long projects. Often when we talk to customers, they get very excited about all the things we can offer and go, oh yes, we want sales, marketing, customer service, blah, 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 blah. And you go, whoa, hang on, let's go back to what it was you came to us about. There was an issue there, and whatever it was, let's address that first. And let's have a nice, discrete project we can deploy in 6-8 weeks, wherever it is. So you then start to see your dashboards lighten up, you start to see some return on investment, and you can see how we can really make changes for you. And then let's look at the next bite, and then the next bite. Now, there's a lot of reasons we do that, but one of them is because, especially in a fast-growing business, if you have a long project and you don't change it during that time that you're implementing it, the business actually has walked away from the requirement.
Yeah.
And that can then be, you've then got a customer going, well, this isn't doing what I wanted to do. Well, no, what you want to do now is very different to 2 years ago when you actually designed this. So those long projects are prone to that potentially falling out with a partner if there isn't that continuous updating of the requirement. Now, by doing in short sprints, you don't have that. What you do get the situation though is, and this is something we really work with our customers around, is let's say we put in sales productivity. What we do then is we say, right, we've got it in there now, it's running, you've got the data in, it's starting to happen. Don't play with it. Don't mess around with it. Leave it in situ. Let's come back in a couple of months' time, have a review, and then go, okay, well, we'd like to be able to do this and the other now. Fine. Okay, is that something you want now? Do you want to hold fire for another couple of months and then build up a list of requirements and have a night or whatever? So the thing about that is to continuously review, but in nice period stages, how the platform is working for your business, which is changing. Businesses change, and make sure it's up to date with what you need. We've sometimes been brought into, quite regularly actually, into customers who have no partner. They implemented with a partner some years ago. They now go, this is really so irrelevant now to the way we operate. Can you help us? And then we've got to do one or two things. We've got to get their platform up to date with all the new stuff that comes with Dynamics or the Power Platform, or B, up to what's the requirement for the customer, or, as has happened in a couple of cases, start again, because the requirements move so far away from the platform. In fact, nobody's using it, there's no engagement with it, and it's irrelevant. So yeah, interesting points there, Phil, and thanks for raising those questions.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. So So we've looked at the three fears. So let's summarise. How do you think that intY and Cloud 2020, how can we help the partners who are listening to this webinar today?
Well, hopefully we've made a good case for partnering with us to bring Dynamics 365 or the Power Platform to their customers. And I think, essentially we want to be able to facilitate that conversation. So we've got collateral, we've got some information about, when to have that conversation, what to listen out for, what's important. We also seek to try and keep people up to date as well with regard to what's happening. Ian and I have a regular Friday morning chat called Cloud 2020 Insights. It's a kind of coffee time chat, goes out Friday afternoon usually, we spend 10 minutes talking about what's happening in the Dynamics Power Platform world, particularly around release waves, about certain solutions that are around functions or solutions that are around industry vertical solutions. So staying in touch with that, we hope to bring that kind of information so that your partners don't have to go out and look for that, because it can be quite hard to bring all that information together. So we seek to build the evidence of us being trusted and experts by actually exhibiting that via our webinars like this, with distribution like yourselves, and also just for our own kind of branding and sending out that information to anybody that wants to listen to it. There's a YouTube channel. I think that it's the details of that are on the last slide. By doing that, we hope to enable your partners to look at the competition, to maintain their own customers there and take them on the digital transformation journey. And, it has to be said, we have had people come and say, OK, well, we're interested in getting involved in the Dynamics world ourselves. Can you train us? And actually, in the main, most of them, when they've looked at it more closely, have said, you know what, we'll stay with what we know. You guys can stay with what you know, and we'll bring you in, because there's training involved to get the competencies required, and it can be quite onerous on a smaller business as well. So, unless you're particularly going to dive into that world, it's probably not something you want to do. And that means then that you don't have to onboard staff to maintain your either to engage in an in-house resource, and Dynamics 365 staffing is actually at quite a premium at the moment. There is a shortage here, but that also means that because we offer support for any solution that we've implemented, you don't have to do that as a partner. You could triage if you want to carry on having your customers automatically think of you when there's a problem. That's not a problem for us. You can send that support ticket onto us on behalf of your customers. So we offer those kinds of ways to fully wrap around the partner to make sure that they can deliver with confidence. Is there anything I've left out, Ian?
I don't think so. I think you nailed that one, Wendy.
Well, that's a good thing.
Brilliant. Guys, I mean, I'll check the Q&A box. Nothing else has come through, as I said, sort of at the start, if there was something particularly pertinent. I wanted to raise it during the webinar because I'm enjoying the sessions that we're doing. We're trying to make them interactive and sort of away from scripted slide decks. And the feedback we had from the last one was really positive, which is good. What I will say, I will echo the point that Wendy made about the insights that her and Ian do on their YouTube channel on Fridays. Moving forward, from an intY perspective, we'll be looking to host these on our resource portal under the Cloud 2020 section. But I suppose so as a partner, what's your call to action listening to this today? And it's the same as ever. It's have a think, look at the opportunities you're working on at the moment. Is anything, hopefully things have resonated from what Ian and Wendy have said, and that if you feel that any of the three fears that it's something that you have encountered as a partner, then engage with your intY account manager and let's set up some dialogue. Let's set up a call with Cloud 2020. as Ian touched on, they've got a wide range of collateral and battle cards which have recently been updated, and I know the intY account managers have access to, so hopefully they've been shared out with some of you guys as partners. But if not, you know, let's reach out to our intY account manager, let's set up a conversation with Cloud 2020, and let's look at the journey we can go on. Let's talk about partner to partner, and let's allay any fears that may come up around that, and let's actually look at fundamentally what did we touch on at the start of the call, at the start of the webinar today, is what's the opportunity for me as a partner. And it's an opportunity for revenue. It's an opportunity to become that true trusted advisor in a technology area that maybe we don't specialize in currently, but Cloud 2020 certainly do. Wendy, Ian, thank you very much. Really pleased to have had you guys along today, and I've really enjoyed it as always. And
thank you.
The guys are put their contact details on the previous slide. The slide deck will be made available to anyone who's signed up. So again, even if you're watching this back on demand, you'll be able to get a copy of the slide deck, and sign up to the YouTube channel as well, because it's got some really great collateral on there and some really great points to help you understand and identify opportunities across Dynamics and the Power Platform.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thanks very much, guys, and thank you for everyone who's listened today and is watching back on demand, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.